Let's take a look at the standings going into round 3 of the Candidates 2026. 3 players shared the lead. Praggnanandhaa, Sindarov and Caruana. So Caruana had white against Wei Yi. You can see that game elsewhere on the channel. I've already recorded that. And the other 2 leaders, Pragg and Sindarov, played against each other. So 2 20-year-olds, 2 of the most exciting players in the world, both incredible prospects, well, not just for the future, but right now. And their game did not disappoint. This was an absolute cracker. Praggnanandhaa playing white against Sindarov. India against Uzbekistan. 2 rival nations and 2 rival players. D5 from Sindarov. No King's Indian. Remember, he played that very successfully in the Tata Steel Masters against Matthias Blubaum. Fantastic game. So is he going to be more solid today? Is he ever? Let's find out. Queen's Gambit declined. I mean, solid so far. And Pragg goes for Bishop F4, which is, well, these days, I think the main line in the Queen's Gambit declined, actually. And now Black can go for knight d7, b6, but Sindarov plays what is really the old main line and played a great deal today as well. c5, attacking the centre. That was exchanged off. And then a3. This is all absolutely normal. You might recall a game in the Tata Steel Masters, another one, between Giri and Edomush, where Giri, after Queen a5, outplayed the Turkish prodigy with Rook d1. There's a lot of theory around that. There's also Castle's queenside, which leads to absolutely crazy positions. I mean, there are hundreds and hundreds of games with these moves. But Sindarov plays something that's a little bit unusual. Rook e8. So clearly looking to push forward with e5. So Pragg played Bishop g5. Now, those of you with long memories might recall that this move was actually played in the Anand Carlsen World Championship match in 2014. Carlsen played this. But in this position, he stepped back with the bishop to break the pin. And then, well, he had to play quite accurately to equalise this position. But Sindarov had another idea in mind. He played d4. So this is a very ambitious move. So if this is taken, then, well, you know, Black gets an outpost on d4. In fact, I remember seeing this move a few years ago, 10 years ago in London. London Chess Classic 2016, a game between Topalov and Anand that, well, it was a crazy game. Anand won a brilliant game, actually, after this. Okay, that's another story. Actually, I think I recorded the game on the channel. I'll find it and put the link up. But instead, Pragg took on f6. Queen f6, knight e4, so that hits queen and bishop. So the queen stepped up to protect the bishop. Now, Pragg thought for over 13 minutes here. And there's a couple of very sharp moves. I mean, I think you can no longer control this position with white. You just have to roll with it. So bishop d3 is very interesting. And then you can play like some weird gambit line like this. White has very good compensation. I mean, black is okay, but it's tricky. But Pragg went for b4 instead, also absolutely wild. The bishop can retreat, but Sindarov, well, he spent 15 minutes here and sacked a piece. You know, he's not one to back down. And king d1. Yeah, if knight d2, then black takes here, and has pretty decent compensation. You just got to get your pieces out as quickly as possible. You know, the king's staggering around in the middle. But Pragg played instead king d1. Takes on e3. Bishop d3. It's a really weird position. So there could be some kind of discovered attack. So queen g6. Threatening to take here. So f takes e3, defends. And f5, so that obviously blocks out the bishop. And then bishop c5. So we've got a situation where, let's just take stock. Black has sacrificed a piece, has two bishops and two pawns. I mean, the two bishops, well, the bishop on c8 isn't in play yet. The bishop on c5 is a strong piece. White's king is wandering around. I mean, it's just a really chaotic position. Here Pragg played queen c3. He should have played e4, which is pretty wild, breaking things open, especially with your king in the middle. But he played queen c3 instead. So here, I think we should have a think and drink moment. How would you play if you were playing with black in this position? Black to play. Cheers. Do you want to improve your chess? Get access to live masterclasses with yours truly? Then subscribe to patreon.com/PowerPlayChess, and for just $25 a month, you get a newsletter with a test game, calculation puzzles, a monthly opening survey, access to an archive with over 100 opening surveys. And you can join in live masterclasses exclusive to patrons where you can ask me questions directly over Zoom. All for only $25 per month. Do subscribe to patreon.com/PowerPlayChess and join the club. Queen c3 was a mistake. And that's possible that Pragg missed a simple tactic here. Because after e5, best move, did you spot it? Then that really helps black's position. So you've got these two nice pawns rolling through the middle. But also this bishop can come into play as well. The problem is if knight takes pawn, queen f6, and that is obviously not very pleasant for white because of the pin, and black picks up the knight. Okay, back we go. So bishop c2, because e4 was a threat. And now black's compensation is more evident with this space. And the king is wandering around. You know, this is a weak pawn. More than that, Pragg was in time pressure already. So this is move 21. And he still had, well, a lot of moves to make, to 19 moves to get to the time control. And he had under 20 minutes by this stage. And, you know, that you could sense that Sindarov was growing in confidence. Rook d8, pinning. King c1, you know, where does that king go? I mean, it's not particularly safe on the queen side. I suppose there are these pieces around it, but there's no pawn cover to speak of. Queen g5 hits the pawn, defended by the rook. Queen e7 and rook e2. To my mind, that's a strange move. I think it would have been better to play rook d1, and then there's potential to actually connect the rooks. Yes, after rook e2, we've got split rooks. Yeah, you can tick a box on the PowerPlayChess bingo card. Split rooks. It's not good. Bishop b4 hits the queen, and a5, good move, because, well, not only does it secure the bishop, but it means that the rook can sneak out into play without even developing that bishop. Knight d4, queen g5, the queen comes back into play. I mean, what I like about Sindarov's play is that he's kind of not panicking. He's just bringing out his pieces steadily and just increasing the pressure. You know, he's not panicking somehow. And the knight gets pushed back. Okay, now the bishop comes into play. Rook c8 hits the pawn on c4. So knight d2. You noticed how, okay, the knight on d4 is a good piece, but the other knight and the bishop, they don't have much to do. That pawn on e4 is doing a fantastic job of just shutting them out of the game. Rook b6, lining up against the queen. If you look at this position with a computer, in fact, it's still okay for white, but you can just feel the trend in the game is somehow in black's favour. But it's a mad position, and particularly when you're short of time, this is so difficult. Stockfish recommends g4 in this position. I mean, it's a ludicrous move. So obviously if pawn takes, then e4 can be taken. And if queen takes, it just thinks rook f2. And, you know, perhaps later on it might be possible to shift a rook to the g file with some counterplay. It's a very interesting idea, but it's the kind of thing that when you're short of time, I mean, playing a move like that, you'd have to be an absolute genius to play that. But Pragg panicked here. We're on move 33. He's in time pressure. I mean, both players in time pressure. c5. So he wants to open up this diagonal. But actually, the queen really doesn't do much down there. And more to the point, there's actually just a simple tactic that Pragg had overlooked. Rook takes. And if knight takes, then bishop e6. Check. Just wins the queen. So king b1. And this is utterly lost now. You can see that Sindarov is now a piece up. And this is move 38. I mean, I think they were down to a couple of minutes, maybe a minute, Pragg, something like that. So they're going to make the time control, but by this stage, it is utterly lost. So Sindarov has given back the piece, played queen f6. I mean, white has to exchange queens here, otherwise the king is going to be checkmated. And of course, a rook and pawn endgame, 4 pawns up, is completely winning. So that was the final position. Praggnanandhaa resigned here. Wow. I mean, that was a very impressive game by Sindarov. Not because it was a perfect game, but impressive in the sense that he played with such confidence. And in the interviews after the game, you know, he was just, you know, his self-belief was palpable. He just knew this was going to be okay for black. Even though he was a piece down, it's a messy position. You know, it really feels like he has momentum at the moment. Will that take him all the way to victory in the candidates? Hard to say. Still very early. Anyway, let's just recap the results from round 3. So Praggnanandhaa 0, Sindarov 1, and Caruana defeated Wei Yi. Do take a look at my other video from today. It's an extraordinary miniature, actually. Incredible game, very unusual. And the other 2 games were pretty solid draws. So let's just take a quick look at the standings. After 3 rounds of the 2026 candidates, we have 2 leaders, Fabiano Caruana and Javokhir Sindarov on 2.5. Prag 1.5. Matthias Bluebaum on 1.5. I think Bluebaum is going for the Matthias Bluebaum sweep, but not with wins. He's had 3 draws so far. And we have a fantastic pairing tomorrow. Sindarov against Caruana. That's going to be an absolute blast.